Clark missed the last game, managing that back to go.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. The Indiana Fever just wrapped up their road trip with one of their most complete performances of the season. And if this is the version of the team we're going to see moving forward, the rest of the WNBA should definitely be paying attention. Indiana walked into Las Vegas and didn't just beat the Aces, they controlled the game from start to finish. The final score, 109-75, tells you everything you need to know. This wasn't one of those games where the Fever got lucky in the fourth quarter or needed a miracle comeback. They were the better team almost every step of the way. And here's what impressed me the most. Against the Las Vegas Aces, the Fever looked connected. The offense flowed naturally, the defense stayed active, and everyone seemed to understand their role. When this team shares the basketball and limits mistakes, they're capable of beating anybody. One thing I've noticed over the last couple of seasons is that the Indiana Fever always seem to raise their level when they face the Aces. There's something different about these matchups. The energy is higher, the intensity is greater, and the confidence seems to multiply. It's almost like they know they're facing one of the league's biggest measuring sticks, so everybody locks in from the opening tip. This time around, there weren't any major officiating storylines overshadowing the game. Fans could simply focus on basketball. And Indiana took full advantage of that opportunity. Let's start with Aaliyah Boston, because she once again proved why she's one of the anchors of this franchise. Boston finished with another double-double, controlling the paint on both ends of the floor. Whether she was finishing around the rim, grabbing rebounds, or forcing difficult shots inside, she made life extremely difficult for Las Vegas. Every time Indiana needed a physical presence, Boston answered. She established position early, stayed patient offensively, and continued showing why she's one of the toughest interior players in the WNBA. Then there's Caitlyn Clark. You could tell she looked much more comfortable compared to some of her recent appearances. She remained on a minutes restriction, playing about 24 minutes, after Stephanie White mentioned before the game that the expectation was somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes. Even with those limited minutes, Clark looked more like herself. Her shooting rhythm appeared stronger, but what really stood out was her passing. Officially, she finished with 6 assists, but numbers don't always capture the quality of the passes being made. Several of those deliveries created wide-open scoring opportunities and kept Indiana's offense moving at a fast pace. The timing was there, the court vision was there, the confidence looked like it was coming back. That's a great sign for Indiana, because as Clark continues getting healthier, this offense becomes even more dangerous. Another player who deserves a lot of credit is Monique Billings. She gave Indiana outstanding production in limited minutes, providing energy every time she stepped onto the floor. Billings finished with 25 points while adding double-digit rebounds, making the most of nearly every opportunity she received. Those are the kinds of performances championship-caliber teams need throughout a long season. Not every night has to belong to the biggest stars. Sometimes role players step forward and completely change the game, and that's exactly what Billings did. Now let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. Everyone already knows what Mitchell brings offensively. She's one of the league's most aggressive scorers, and once again, she delivered. She finished with 27 points while knocking down 3 three-pointers and converting every free throw she attempted. What stood out beyond the scoring, though, was her overall effort. She contributed rebounds, recorded steals, and even added 3 assists. When Mitchell combines efficient scoring with contributions in other areas, Indiana becomes much harder to defend because opponents can't simply focus on stopping one player. But if we're talking about surprise performances, we have to spend some time discussing Sophie Cunningham. She was absolutely on fire. Cunningham came off the bench and immediately changed the momentum. She scored 20 points while shooting an incredible 7 for 9 from the field and an even more impressive 6 for 7 from beyond the arc. That's elite shooting. Every time Las Vegas looked like it might put together a small run, Cunningham answered with another three-pointer. People sometimes overlook what she brings to this roster, but nights like this remind everyone why she's so valuable. She spaces the floor, competes defensively, and provides the type of confidence every championship contender wants coming off the bench. Remember, from last July through August, Cunningham established herself as one of the highest volume three-point shooters in the entire WNBA. Performances like this aren't random. They're reminders of exactly what she's capable of when she catches fire. And believe me, if she were on several other teams around the league, there's a strong argument she'd be starting every night. With contributions coming from every direction, Indiana looked like a team that had complete control. And we're just getting started because there's another major storyline from this game that deserves its own discussion: Caitlyn Clark making WNBA history. Now let's get into one of the biggest stories from this game, because it wasn't just about the final score. Caitlyn Clark added another historic achievement to her already incredible career. Against the Las Vegas Aces, Clark officially became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 600 career assists, accomplishing the milestone in just 72 games. Think about that for a second. Some players spend years trying to establish themselves as elite playmakers, and Clark has already reached a mark that no one in league history has reached this quickly. That's a remarkable accomplishment, especially when you consider everything she's dealt with recently. She wasn't playing unrestricted minutes, she wasn't fully healthy, and yet she still found a way to make history. That's what separates great players from everyone else. Even when they're not at 100% physically, they continue impacting the game in ways that most players simply can't. You could see it throughout this matchup. Clark wasn't forcing shots or trying to chase numbers. Instead, she let the game come to her. She moved the basketball, trusted her teammates, and took advantage of the opportunities that presented themselves. That's exactly what you want from your franchise point guard. Before the game, Stephanie White made it clear that Clark would likely play somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes as she continues working her way back. She ended up playing right in that range, and honestly, that's probably the smartest approach. There's no reason to rush things when the bigger goal is making sure she's fully healthy for the stretch run. The encouraging part is that every game she looks a little more comfortable. Her timing is improving, her movement looks smoother, and the chemistry with players like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and Monique Billings continues to grow. Speaking of Boston, this matchup once again highlighted how important she is to Indiana's success. Whenever the Fever play the Las Vegas Aces, Boston seems ready for the challenge. She never backs down from physical basketball, and she consistently battles A'ja Wilson every possession. Those two are among the league's best front court players, and every meeting between them feels like must-watch basketball. Boston's double-double wasn't just about statistics. She controlled the paint, secured rebounds, and helped Indiana dominate inside. Her physicality set the tone early, allowing the Fever to dictate the pace instead of reacting to what Las Vegas wanted to do. Then you look at the team numbers, and they explain why the game turned into such a blowout. Indiana protected the basketball. The Fever finished with only 10 turnovers, which is a huge improvement compared to several recent games. Earlier this season, turnovers have occasionally hurt Indiana, allowing opponents to score easy transition baskets. This time, they stayed disciplined and made smart decisions throughout the night. That's winning basketball. They also shot the ball efficiently from the field and from beyond the three-point line. When Indiana is knocking down outside shots while also controlling the paint through Boston, they're extremely difficult to defend. And let's go back to Sophie Cunningham one more time, because her performance deserves extra recognition. 20 points, 7 made field goals on just 9 attempts, 6 made three-pointers, a tremendous plus-minus. That's exactly the kind of production every contender dreams of getting from a player coming off the bench. She brought energy, confidence, and shooting every time she stepped onto the floor. Every made three seemed to take a little more life out of the Aces, while giving Indiana even more momentum. Now, I'm really interested to hear what Becky Hammon has to say after this game. The Aces have championship expectations every season, so losing by more than 30 points is never acceptable by their standards. Hammond is one of the most respected coaches in the WNBA, and you can be sure she'll expect a much better performance the next time these teams meet. For Indiana, though, this is exactly the type of victory they needed. Winning is one thing. Winning convincingly against a championship-caliber opponent is something entirely different. It builds confidence, it strengthens chemistry, and it proves that when everyone contributes, the Fever have the talent to compete with anyone in the league. After the game, fans flooded social media celebrating Clark's latest record. Many pointed out how impressive it is that she reached 600 assists despite dealing with injuries and playing under a minutes restriction. Others argued that if she had been fully healthy throughout every stretch of her career, some of these milestones might have come even sooner. Whether you agree with those opinions or not, one thing is undeniable. Caitlyn Clark continues rewriting the record books at an incredible pace. It seems like every few weeks there's another historic achievement attached to her name, and at only this stage of her career, it's exciting to imagine what the next several seasons could look like. If she stays healthy and continues developing alongside Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and Monique Billings and the rest of this Indiana Fever roster, this team has every reason to believe it can make a deep postseason run. This performance wasn't perfect, but it was close to the complete game Fever fans have been waiting to see. Strong defense, excellent ball movement, efficient shooting, limited turnovers, star players making star plays, role players stepping up in big moments. That's the formula that wins championships. Now it's all about consistency. Can the Indiana Fever build on this momentum and carry it into the next stretch of the season? If they can, the rest of the WNBA is going to have a serious problem. But I want to hear from all of you. Was this the most impressive performance by the Indiana Fever this season? What did you think about Caitlyn Clark becoming the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 600 assists? And who was your player of the game? Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Monique Billings, or Caitlyn Clark? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest WNBA coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.